What's up everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we'll take a look at the Imperial Age commanderies. Once you're in Castle Age with Templars and your economy is solid, whether through sacred sites, relics or trade, the next step is hitting Imperial Age. That's when you unlock one of 3 commanderies, each giving you unique units and a major late game identity. Let's go through each choice and the key stats that matter. Republic of Venice. This commandery gives you 3 things: Condottiero, the Venetian galley, and the Venetian trader. The Condottiero has 120 gold cost, it has 195 HP, 3 ranged armor, 2 melee armor, 16 base damage, and it has bonus damage versus gunpowder units and siege, plus 16 for both. It has a 144 movement speed, which is extremely fast, and a 19-second production time, so they're quite spammable. These are fast gold-only infantry with great bonuses against siege and hand cannoneers. They're cheap and they're easy to mass in the late game, and they're quite good at dealing with opponents that are spamming siege units or gunpowder in general. This commandery also gives you access to the Venetian galley, which is a water unit. It costs 360 wood, 300 gold, 50 seconds production time. It fires 2 trebuchet projectiles, each doing 25 siege damage, which is quite low, but it does have a lot of bonus damage, plus 200 versus buildings and plus 100 versus ships. It has a whopping 11.38 attack speed and 1 ranged armor and a 1 tile per second movement speed. Think of this like a water trebuchet. It's extremely slow, but it hits hard. Best used when you are already controlling the water or you want to snipe docks or building in naval fights. The long range can be very useful. You need to surround it with a lot of ships, otherwise you're gonna lose them because they are terrible alone. The last unit is the Venetian Trader. This is a very unique unit in the sense that you can only get 5 of them. They cost 80 wood, 120 gold, they have 1.88 movement speed, and they're faster than most units in the game. They are only sort of chased down by horsemen when they're charging, as they have the same movement speed, so it's nearly impossible to raid these guys. If you're trading, these are your only options as Templars, otherwise you gotta set up a proper pilgrim economy through fortresses, or 60 to 70, 80 farmers through your food for gold loans that you get in your market. The next commandery we'll take a look at is the Teutonic Order. The Teutonic Order gives your gold units plus 2 armor, and it gives you access to the Teutonic Knight. The Teutonic Knight has 6 melee armor and 6 ranged armor. It has a 24 base damage and 0.9 movement speed. It debuffs nearby enemies with a -2 melee and ranged armor debuff, and every time you kill something with it, it gets 5 HP and a permanent 1 damage as well. It is quite slow, but it's practically unkillable. The more kills you get on it, the more HP and damage you get. So if you have healers and you've taken damage on them, you can always heal them back up and just keep on giving them better stats by fighting. They're especially good in choke points or when protecting siege or range units. So the scaling on the kills makes them better, and they're better the longer they survive. The last commandery we'll take a look at is the Kingdom of Poland. This commandery gives you access to Slata cavalry, and it buffs all cavalry with 10% HP and 50% charge damage. The unique unit, the Slata cavalry, costs 180 food and 120 gold. It has only 2 melee armor, but a whopping 8 ranged armor. It has 32 base damage and 72 charge damage. It has 173 movement speed and a bonus 8 versus light infantry. It debuffs enemy units when it hits them by making them attack 20% slower. So these are your late game tanks. They're extremely cost efficient. So in late game, you want to have a lot of these guys together with a lot of siege, and they can be very, very efficient that way. They absorb archer fire, even crossbow fire to some extent. They deal good melee damage and reduce enemy attack speed. So combine that with the charge damage from the Polish commandery, you can open fights really, really effectively and quickly get an advantage. We need to also talk about the late game gold strategy for Knights Templar. It is something that a lot of people kind of get wrong because you're looking at a very different type of late game compared to other civs. You don't have access to traders unless you go for the Venetian commandery, so you have to build a lot of farms so that you can queue your pilgrim loans, whether it's the small one for 1,000 food that gives you 600 gold over 2 minutes, or the 2500 food one that gives you 1800 gold every 3 minutes, or the 4k one that gives you 3600 gold every 4 minutes, you'll need to get a lot of farmers, typically 70 to 80 on the farms at least. Alternatively, if you have got the map control for it, you can also start building a lot of fortresses to increase your pilgrim count. So your pilgrims scale with your fortress count. Every time you get another fortress, you get another pilgrim as well. So build lots of fortresses, get lots of farmers, and you'll be able to run a very, very efficient food and gold economy that way. Consider running Slatter cavalry here, because if you need to contest sacred sites out on the map and you need to be able to move around, you might not want to have the Teutonic Knights, you'd like to have the Slatter cavalry. Knights Templar do not have access to gunpowder units, your bombards and hand cannons are non-existent. Instead, they have a lot of unique techs and discounted siege. You want to run these techs. Fanaticism comes from your monastery and gives your Templar brothers, so those are your knights, and your commandery units, so every single unit that you got from your commanderies in Feudal, Castle and Imperial Age, they all get a 10% damage increase when below 50% HP and a 30% damage increase when below 25% HP. You want to use this technology especially when you're running mass Slatter cavalry, mass Teutonic Knights, even when you have a lot of siege units, you will have a lot of frontline as well. So if you have all those units together with a big push, this is an incredibly important upgrade to get, as it will boost your overall damage output by a lot the longer the fight goes. Another technology you would like to get is the Kranikins. Crossbows will get another half tile range and another +2 damage, making your crossbows a lot stronger as a replacement for your hand cannons. You also get access to counterweight defenses. Trebuchets will now fire 2 projectiles instead of 1. You also get access to Brigandine, which is another upgrade that buffs your light cavalry, such as the Genitors or Horsemen, to now have another +2 armor. And from your fortresses, you can get Iron Clamps, which is another 20% reduction in damage taken from gunpowder units. So let's summarize. You want to go for the Venetian commandery when you're playing into gunpowder units or siege, or if you want to improve your overall late game economy with traders and better rates at the market. When you pick the Polish commandery for Age 4 Knights Templar, you're often going to center your composition around Slatter cavalry, which is an extremely gold efficient and high quality unit comp. Use this typically when you play on more open maps, or alternatively use the Teutonic Order when playing on more closed maps. The Teutonic Order gives you a strong front line that can help you scale, as you can build up a larger and better army that is typically infantry centered. It can be good for holding ground. So don't forget, all three scale well with your passive gold and farm backed food to gold loans. Your late game isn't just strong, it's one of the best in the game if you manage to macro it correctly and pick the right units for your matchup. That's it for the Imperial Age breakdown. Whichever path you take, lean into its identity, and then you'll be able to do pretty well with the Knights Templar. That's going to be it for me. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out the membership videos on my YouTube channel, where I cover some of the more complex topics in AoE4 and share the build orders I actually use in tournaments. Let me know what you think of Imperial Age Knights Templar in the comments below. Which is your favorite commandery and why? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you.